Hi guys, so today I will be doing another TV series discussion. I've not done one of these in a long time, but these were one of my favourite videos to do and I wish I did more of them. But I'm going to be talking about Noughts and Crosses by Malorie Blackman, and this will be the new BBC series coming out in 2019. So, for anyone who doesn't know, this is a young adult series which focuses on a dystopian version of England where racism is very still much the central focus and there is a clear divide between race and class within this society. So you have Noughts who are the white people and they are seen as a lower working class and they are victims of discrimination, and this causes an uprising in a rebel group. And you have Crosses who are hierarchy, they are definitely middle class and upper class, and they are the main kind of politicians, doctors, and there is a much more, they are held up on a much higher respectable plane. But there is a clear divide between these two races, and its central focus is between Sephy, who is the daughter of a politician, and Callum, who is the son of a low-income family, and they are his dad and brother actually get involved with the rebel group trying to overthrow the government. So this is a very politically charged Romeo and Juliet style drama. Now this is being told in 6 parts, and I will be going into detail about the writing, the casting, and the look of it, because we have had a still released of Sephy and Callum, and I am so excited to talk about it. There is so much in this one picture that I can literally go into with a lot of detail. So yeah, sit back and hopefully you listen to me talking about this series. Now, one of the reasons I feel like this has taken quite a while to get out of pre-production is the kind of shift in writing, because this actually had 2 very different writers attached to write the script for this. So originally we had Levi David Adder from Youngers and Life on Mars co-creator Matthew Graham on board to write the script. But then I feel like I'm not really sure of the logistics behind that and why it changed. But the Being Human UK creator Toby Whitehouse actually then took over and is overseeing the scripts. And also, fun fact, Jay-Z's production company Rock Nation and Passion Media will executive produce this series, and only in November 2018 was it really confirmed that Jack Rowan and Masali Baduza, I am so sorry, Masali Baduza was cast as Callum and Sephy. So yeah, I feel like this is probably going to come out probably autumn or summertime, because they've only just confirmed the 2 main leads. So I feel like production either is underway now or they are just about to get production underway. But they are, at the moment, they are slated for a 2019 release. So very much looking forward to that and seeing how this plays out. Now, the first thing that I really want to talk about is the poster. This is very new because I've been trying to keep track of the development of this series when I finished the book last year, and truthfully there wasn't anything confirmed because they were still working on the scripts, rightfully so. But only in November that I've just found out did we start to get more casting announcements and more developments. So yeah, let's have a look at the poster and kind of go more in depth from there. Right, so just bear with me 1 minute. It was on my screen and I've completely lost it. Right, here it is. So yeah, with the Noughts and Crosses poster, we have got a very simple but very effective poster. So similar to the book cover, which I included in my 2018 Reads review, we have a clear divide between the nought and the cross. But what I like about this is the textuality of this poster, because it says a lot about both of the noughts and the crosses. So I'm going to go start off with the noughts because that's on the left side. So I'm going to go left to right for anyone who's looking at this poster. So with the noughts, we are looking at a spray painted nought, and it looks like it's a street alleyway wall. It looks like a more brick concrete wall. So that is the kind of messy side of the lower income side of the noughts, and that kind of looks a lot more raw. So if we go over to the crosses, we got a very clean, very state-of-the-art wall, and the cross it almost looks like a logo. So I don't know, we could possibly see this in Kamal's office, or this could be in a very sort of high-end area of town. So we could see that the crosses are kind of seen as the hierarchy. And yeah, all that we've really got about the dates so far is that it's coming out in 2019. So I'm very much looking forward to this, and I'm really, really excited to see how this shows up, because already the detail of this poster just looks absolutely gorgeous, and it just says so much already, because some posters just really throw too much in there, whereas this, it says so much about the race, about the class, but in a subtle way that keeps the audience guessing. So I am very much looking forward to seeing how this plays out and what we get with these what the textuality of the show will look like, because I like the idea of this very state-of-the-art, very clean side of the crosses, and then we get this very messy, very raw side of the noughts. So this should be very great to see. And yeah, already just seeing the poster, I really, really think it is a great choice and a great style. So whoever designed that, bravo, that is just, it's a brilliant poster, and I'm very much looking forward to going into more about the casting for this. So the first casting we've got is Jack Rowan as Callum, who is one of the main narrators of the book, and he is the main character we see the north side of the storyline through. I really like this casting. So anyone who doesn't know, Jack Rowan is kind of known for his acting in Pesky Blinders, and he's been in Born to Kill. But I really like the look of this guy for Callum, because the thing what I loved about Callum's character and the way Malorie Blackman wrote him was that he was definitely a character who grew up way too fast. He was very much familiar with racism. He knew just to keep his mouth shut if anyone questioned him, which was so sad to see such a young character with this mindset, and you're seeing Sephy with such an innocent mindset of authorities, and you know, the fact that she's from such a well-off background. But Callum is like, he grows up in a rough area, he's from a family that's kind of very dysfunctional, so he kind of is a very kind of silent observer. And what I like about Jack Rowan, he's got a very open expression, and I feel like he would be able to show the real vulnerability of this character, because this character does go through some really messed up stuff, and I feel like he's a really good choice for the casting of this, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he portrays this character, and I feel like he's going to do good, to be fair. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this plays out. So yeah, he's definitely got my vote for Callum. So the second main protagonist that has definitely been confirmed is Masali Baduza as Sephy. Now I've looked up this actress, and she is really a newcomer. She's only been listed at the moment for 2 productions, including this on IMDb. So this is actually good to kind of get a fresh face to portray this character. And just looking at her, she is honestly what I imagined as the older version of Sephy. So I feel like she's going to do a terrific job with this character just from looks alone. But from the screenshot, which we will see later, of Sephy and Callum together, I do feel like these two will have a really good chemistry together, and I'm very much hoping they will flow naturally and organically. One of the things I am curious to see how they show is if we're going to get younger actors for the 14 and 15-year-olds versions of these characters, because we essentially go from 4-year-olds to 17 and 19-year-olds. So these two, for Sephy and Callum at the moment, are very much the older versions. So mid to late teens with Malorie and Jack will clearly be playing. But I'm just wondering, will they also be playing the teenage versions? Will the TV series have to up their ages just to make it look authentic that they are still in secondary school or high school? So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing these two together, because the integral part of the series will be the love story between these two characters. So I'm very much hoping the chemistry is on point and the characters are written in a way that the characters have been written in a way that the actors just kind of really get to explore the complexity of both of these roles. But yeah, at the moment, just looking at Jack Rowan and Masali Baduza as both of these characters, I feel like these two are an excellent casting for both Callum and Sephy, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing a newcomer kind of really take on this very challenging role and seeing how she goes from being a very innocent and naive character to a politically aware and mature young woman. So this is a great character growth, and I'm very excited to see how she plays this. So yeah, so far, brilliant casting for the two leads. Okay, and the next casting is Callum's mother, Maggie McGregor, and this is being played by Helen Baxendale. As many of you, I'm sure, will know her from Friends or Cuckoo. I would never have put this actress with this character, mainly because she's played such comical characters, but actually seeing it and seeing how much she looks like Jack Rowan, I feel like she is a perfect fit for this character, and I genuinely think she can play the dramatic side of this character incredibly well. Now, initially from the book, you see the beginning from Maggie's perspective. So she is one of 3 narrators of this book. This is the only time you see that perspective of a woman who is kind of in between these two politically and racial charged worlds, and you see that tension from an adult's perspective. I feel like she's going to play this part exceptionally well. What I loved about Maggie as a character was how progressive she was, when it would have been a lot easier for her to be just as angry and resentful as all of the other characters. But she is probably the most aware of herself and yet the most understanding. She's even welcoming to Sephy years later. Now that's a very big thing for her to do, given the fact of the area that they're in. So I feel like Maggie is a great character, and she is such a force to be reckoned with almost, because what I loved about this book was that there are so many powerful women, even though some of them are very flawed and can be very messy at times. But I feel like with Maggie, she always was centered in the way that she was like, no, this is wrong, or this is right, but you can't go about it like this. She never lost sight of her moral compass throughout the book, and I'm very much excited to see how Helen plays this character, what her chemistry is like with the actors playing Callum and Sephy, and how she plays the strong matriarch figure of the McGregor household, because she really is the one who kind of holds the family together, and when she crumbles, the family crumbles. So there are some very tough scenes with this family that I'm very much looking forward to and dreading, because I know it's going to be a tough watch. But yeah, she is a brilliant casting choice. I would never have thought of her, but actually seeing her, and I feel like she could play drama very well. This woman needs to be cast in more dramatic roles, or if she has, I need to actually see it, because all I've seen is Helen in comedy, and I'm very much looking forward to see how she plays Mickey. So yeah, brilliant casting. Okay, and the next casting is for Ryan McGregor, who is Callum's father, and he is being played by Ian Hart, who, funnily enough, was Professor Krill in the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone movie. I have not seen him in anything else, and in a weird way, I could kind of see him playing this character. I didn't have that look in mind when I read the book, so a lot of these castings I'm excited for, but I would never have kind of put that person forward. But I feel like he's going to be a great Ryan for this series, because similar to Professor Quirrell, there is a definite. He does go to very dark lengths, but it is not because he has that mindset, but he is kind of warped by the anger and the resentment and the injustice of this society that he joins a rebel group. What I love about Ryan and Maggie's relationship and their relationship as parents is their complete contrast and that conflict, which you actually do see throughout the book. And I feel like Helen and Ian will play this perfectly. I would not have put Emily from Friends and Professor Quirrell as parents, but I could kind of see this working, and I feel like Ian Hart will play that vulnerable, broken man who is just so. He wants there to be equality, but he just goes about it the wrong way. And if anything, it causes more conflict. And I feel like there are some very tough scenes with specifically Ian, Helen, and Jack on the horizon, and whoever they've got to play uh, Callum's older brother. I feel like who they've got so far, I feel like these guys will just do a smashing job. And I feel like Ian will really capture Ryan's complexity and that vulnerable, broken man, like I've said. So yeah, again, I am very much impressed with this casting. I wouldn't have put him in this role, but I wouldn't have put him in any other role, weirdly enough, because I just see Professor Quirrell. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he plays Ryan McGregor. So yeah, great casting, by the way. I'm very much excited for this show. Okay, and the next casting is for Kamal, who is Sephy's mother, and he will be played by Patterson Joseph. Now, I've looked up this actor and because he just looked so familiar, and he's been in Casualty and Peep Show, many shows on British TV, but what a lot of people know him for is his performance in King Lear. And I actually watched a snippet of that to kind of get my bearings of how his performance plays out. And just immediately listening to his voice, I feel like he is a perfect fit for Kamal. That it just, I'm blown away. Visually, he looks like how I imagined Kamal when reading the book. So so Kamal is a very high-end politician who is trying to show that he is being progressive by allowing Noughts into cross schools, but this has only been about 5 kids into one school. But at the same time, he's like, oh, we're being progressive, but at the same time, he doesn't want to be too progressive. He wants that divide to remain clear throughout. That there is, so it's a very politically charged storyline his character goes through. The fact that, and Sephy starts to see it as well, how far her father goes to kind of keep power. And it is a very dark character, but his voice acting and his stage presence, I feel like he is. I genuinely think Patterson Joseph will be a terrific casting for this role, and he'll really get the complexity of this very dark and quite sinister character. So, yep, another terrific casting for this role. Okay, and the next casting that I've found is Bonnie Mbulai as Jasmine Hadley. Now, this is a character who we don't see a lot of. We only see from the three characters' perspectives at different stages of her life. So she is a crucial part of the series, but she's one of those characters that on the outside she looks like she has the perfect life. On the inside she is very depressed and she is an extreme alcoholic. So we kind of see this very beautiful woman on the exterior, but inside she's just so sad and broken and very depressed. So I feel like Bonnie and Bully will be a great casting choice. Admittedly, I've not seen her anything yet, but just looking at her as an actress, I feel like she looks the part. And I really hope this series kind of goes into her character a lot more, because we see Jasmine a lot from Sephy's perspectives, and Sephy and Minerva, her sister, feel a lot of resentment towards their mother because from what they see, this is a woman who has no maternal instincts. She just drinks until she's passed out, and she is borderline suicidal throughout this book. But from a reading perspective, you kind of see that the marriage between her and Kamal was just so toxic, and they do have a lot of skeletons in their closet, both of them. So I really hope that this series kind of goes into Jasmine a lot more, and we see why she is the way she is. I mean, as a reader, I picked up on it, which was very clever writing on Malorie Blackman's behalf, but I really hope that we get some episodes where we see why Jasmine is the way she is, because in some ways she's almost the anti-hero of the story. She does cause a lot of carnage, but at the same time she tries to rectify it in her own way. And although it doesn't go to plan, she has that complexity where at one point you think, oh, she's useless. But actually she is quite a powerful character, even in her most vulnerable state. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this actress and her interpretation of the role. Okay, and now we have Josh Dillon as Jude McGregor, the older son of the McGregor family, and a very antagonistic character. He is basically one of the main antagonists for this story. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Jude is probably the most complex villain character of the story. He's on the same level as Kamal almost, where he's just, in many ways, he's kind of warped by his environment. So he is basically what Callum could become. So Jude kind of joins the rebel society trying to overthrow the government, and he is basically kind of converted to see all crosses as the enemy, because he's around adults who really want to overthrow the government. They don't want equality. They don't want to have, like, discrimination abolished. They basically want what the crosses have. And as the series goes on, Jude starts to agree more and more with this ideology, and he won't listen to his mother, he won't listen to his brother, and he goes down a very dark, sinister path. which, from what I read of the book, I don't think there's any return from how far he goes. But with Jude's character, you see him kind of go from being very innocent and very naive to very angry and very bitter. So in terms of casting with Josh Dillon, I've only seen him in Mamma Mia. So he played a very happy, carefree character, but visually he looks the part of what I would imagine older Jude to be. And I feel like he would be a great addition to the role. And this gives a very different perspective of his acting ability. So it'd be very interesting to see how he plays this character. And finally, we have Kiki Brima as Minerva Hurdy, the eldest daughter and big sister of Sephy. Now, this is another really interesting character arc that you see throughout the first book. And I'm going to talk about the actress first. So, Kiki Brima, she's been in Doctors on the BBC, and she's been in one film at the moment, and that is Love Type D, where she played Grace. But she's a fairly newcomer as well, which again I think is great that they're getting fresh talent for this series. So let's go into Minerva. I feel like she does look the part of the character, and visually I could see that she would kind of, she looks like she could play the part very well from her previous experiences. But the thing with Minerva that I like is that she becomes a begrudging mother figure to Sephy. So Minerva is someone who's very comfortable with her way of life, and she's grown up in the world of privilege, and she does not know any different. But when she starts to see that Sephy is crumbling under stress and pressure, and she is becoming depressed as well, Minerva is the one who really has to step up within this family and basically take care of Sephy in the way that their mother never did. And she even takes care of Jasmine at one point, and she essentially becomes a very self-entitled child to almost the mother figure of the family. So that's a very interesting character growth, watching someone go from being selfish to selfless. But she still has their little snarky moments, or she is very quick-witted and she's very sharp on her feet. But this is a character who does kind of have that arc where she goes from being selfish to selfless. And again, I think this is another great casting, and I am very much looking forward to seeing Kiki Brima just playing this character. And we've got 6 episodes, so I really hope we see that arc really develop. So yeah, at the moment, these characters and actors I've talked about are basically the key players of the whole series. These are all the main characters at the moment. So at the moment, these are the actors that we have confirmed. But I have no complaints whatsoever with this cast. It already looks absolutely brilliant. And I love the fact that we're getting new talent and actors that we haven't seen before playing certain roles, taking on this stuff. And I genuinely think that the casting team behind this show has done a terrific job so far. So I'm very much excited to see how the actors work with this material. Right, and here's something I've been really excited to talk about since actually starting this video, and that is the production still of Sephy and Callum. Now, there was just so much to actually get into and discuss with this picture, so I am very excited to actually just dissect and really analyse this still here, because there's a lot to go into, and that's something that I find great in itself, that we can really kind of see these two actors playing these characters. So as you can see, it looks like Sephy and Callum are at some sort of nightclub or a bar. You can see booths in the background, neon lights, and even what looks like a disco ball. They are in quite an intimate embrace, and the looks they're giving each other, it is clearly a romantic moment between them two. And also, I don't think they went out together in this kind of capacity. So this scene will be very interesting in itself, what they are doing, because they never actually went out on a night out from the book. So this kind of says a lot as well. And it also looks quite deserted. So this looks like a very private moment between these two characters. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is that they are filming this in South Africa. It is a British cast, it's a British production, but they are filming this in South Africa, which I think is great visually. But also, I was a bit surprised because I genuinely thought that this story was set within the United Kingdom, England specifically, because the author was British, the characters spoke very British, and the world itself felt like it was in England, a very coastal town in England. So I genuinely thought this was set in England. But actually setting it in South Africa, by the looks of it, actually does add a lot to the world building and the history of this story. So yeah, it actually really does work having this set in Africa, and I feel like the vocab will still be very British by the looks of it, because they've cast a very British cast for this. So yeah, but I feel like the visual side and just the locations of South Africa will give the series a real beauty that the natural surroundings will add so much to it. Now, the thing I want to talk about is the way the characters look, and it does have clear roots in sort of South African style, and especially the hairstyles. Like it's very Afro Caribbean and South African, which I think is really an interesting contrast because Sephy is quite a toned down character in the way she dresses. It's very simple and it's quite subtle, like the dress she appears to be wearing. And her jewellery, although it's quite sort of vibrant, it's very sort of, it works. It's not, it doesn't draw a lot of attention to herself, and she's got very simplistic style. With Callum's style, it's really interesting to see that even his hairstyle goes into a very kind of African hairstyle for someone of white heritage. So even the Noughts have to embrace the style of the crosses, which something that was something that I was never went into with this book, but I'm glad they actually did it here because Callum's dress sense, his clothes are quite vibrant and loud, and even his hair is a lot more noticeable. Whereas Sephy kind of feels very kind of almost reserved in the way she dresses, and is quite modest and simplistic, which again says a lot about these characters. And yeah, I actually think it looks really good. And just even from this picture, the actors look like they have great chemistry on set, and I'm really interested to see how this plays out. I think we're going to see quite a lot of this from Sephy and Callum when they're 17 and 19, which is quite a lot of the bulk of the action towards the end of the book, and we will probably get flashbacks of them younger and onwards. So I feel like this is a show that's going to be told in a lot of flashbacks and flash forwards. I am, yeah, I'm not sure if these two are going to play the younger versions of like the 16-year-old versions of 14, but it should be very interesting to see how the structure of this show is going to play out. I mean, the fact they've got 6 episodes, that is more than enough to tell this story from all different perspectives. So yeah, even just looking at these two characters, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the rest of the characters look and what the locations are going to look like, what the sets are going to look like, and really get into the series. So at the moment, there's no release date yet. They do look like they're set for a 2019 release. So that's good in itself, but that could be 2019 in the summer or 2019 in autumn or winter. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to see how this show plays out, and I am so excited. I love the book. I read the book last year, but I listened to it, and it was such a well written story, and it was so complex and so emotional, and it was so well written that I feel like this as a TV series is just perfect. And I feel like who they've got on board with this so far is just going to be, it's going to be a great show, I feel. And the fact that they could go on and do the rest of the 4 books. So we could get the entire series done as a TV show, which again would be great. But yeah, I will keep you guys updated on any news I hear or any casting, and we can discuss that more from there. But yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think. For one, I'm very excited and very happy with what they've done with this show so far. But yeah, if you guys want to give your opinion of what you think of the casting, who you think they should cast for the rest, because we haven't got Callum's sister yet, we haven't got a lot of the other characters yet. So it should be really interesting to see who they cast for this series, and yeah, hopefully we get release dates soon. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. If you have any other shows that you guys would want me to talk about, I'd be more than happy to research, because I feel like my last video that did really well was when I talked about Star-Crossed. So I feel like I need to talk about more TV series. So yeah, I am very much looking forward to seeing how Noughts and Crosses turns out. Very happy with the casting. I feel like the writing team is perfect. And visually, this looks very good. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think. So make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will hopefully have more Noughts and Crosses news soon. So yeah, thank you for sticking around, and have a good night. Bye.